Hello and welcome to Wild Logic. We are going to be doing a tarot reading together today, but first we're going to read a passage from the Tao Te Ching, and even before that, I have a short little message to share. The whole world belongs to you. You lack nothing. It's all about vibration. What are you tuning into? And with that, we are going to read this passage from the Tao. Fame or integrity, which is more important? Money or happiness, which is more valuable? Success or failure, which is more destructive? If you look to others for fulfillment, you will never truly be fulfilled. If your happiness depends on money, you will never be happy with yourself. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. And so this is not necessarily to say that you will live a life of, just eating out of a bowl of rice, like, this idea of like some kind of monk, highly spiritual person's life, although, you certainly could if that appeals to you. What this is saying is once you embrace the abundance of what you have, more abundance will come to you. Okay, I did not know it was under the Page of Cups. So it comes multiplied. We got one cup in the Page of Cups hands, and this is learning how to see the world through new emotions, through new vibrations, and how then that vibration will attract others, So, yeah, if you want to double up your love with a beloved, whatever that is, a creative project, a job, a person, a pet, you have to embody that first, and then you feel the reflection. And just to be clear, this is an ongoing process, and ultimately everything is our mirror. But these two cards together, wow, I've never seen them side by side like this. It really shows the mirroring principle of the universe. So that is super cool. And here we have the delightful Page of Pentacles. And this is showing how, step by step, we can learn how to bring this abundance into our lives. So the more we embody that emotionally, that vibration, it will start to show up in the world. And this is part of that reflected learning as well. Cool. And so, why not take it to the next level? This idea of the Nine of Pentacles, right? Where you are independent and abundant internally in your mind and emotions. You have this way of walking and moving internally with yourself, where you are letting go of these old stories that told you that it is going to make you evil to be in that state of internal abundance, that treating yourself well, because many people, I'm guessing you're one of them, has grown up in this way where we are supposed to deny our satisfaction and well-being. And so we've been told this story that it is wrong to be kind to ourselves. We have to be obsessed with perfection. We are subservient to others rather than connected to others in partnership, in sacred partnership on this planet. So we're writing a new story where we don't have to be obsessed and controlled to be in balance. We are going to be also getting the energy of this new type of vision. And actually this vision is going to overwrite the devil. So that is where that goes. So as I pull these cards in, they tell me where they want to go. So our new story is that you are a visionary and you get to determine where your energy goes. You're not controlled by anyone. I see my cat lurking around outside. He snuck outside. Going to give him a little bit of a respite for right now, but then he's going to come back in. Because cats can really do a lot of harm to wildlife. Unfortunately, they can live very happily indoors, but if they're outdoors, they can really do a lot of harm. Okay, so back into it. And so here we have this energy of timing, everything having to be controlled, having to be on the clock, right? This is part of that control. So we're getting energy to flip these, your satisfaction, what you're satisfied by is shifting, what your timing is shifting, and you're going to come into balance. Your mind and your heart are going to work together. And this is part of this whole idea of wild logic. Okay. And your ideas of boundaries are going to be shifting, and strength is going to be shifting, and community is going to be shifting, what you need to let go of, and your legacy. You are leaving that all behind. You're leaving old patterns behind. You will be experiencing a pause because you're shifting what you're moving towards, what you're building, what you're constructing. But you will come out of that time, and you will be different, but still magnetic. You'll be coming into something totally new here. This King of Cups energy. But also, I guess, there are no mistakes here. So what's supporting it is these wands, this visionary, which is related to the King of Cups. So don't be mistaken. You're going to be having that too. Because when your mind and your heart work together, your energy is going to be in alignment, right? And this is going to empower this new visionary state that you're coming into here. So, is truth found or is it created? This is the rebellion, right? We've been taught to worship information, but there is this inflexibility with that because only certain people get to determine what the truth is. But, there's a lot to be discovered that isn't on, there's a lot to be discovered by you through your lens, through your truth, through your grounded experience, right? Through this new idea of, well, what really resonates, right? Because information can become a story, can become truth. And then we start to repeat that pattern and that makes it the truth. But there is this stubbornness that's actually a really important stubbornness that's coming in that is going to be supporting that 44. And so we were looking at 44, which is the Emperor energy, 4 and 4 plus equals 8. So there is a structural energy that is coming in from the infinite here, right? Be content with what you have, rejoice in the way things are. So when you realize you are complete, you're going to start looking within yourself for answers rather than outside of yourself. And that is dangerous to the systems that exist because the systems that exist want to continue, right? Like anything, everything has this momentum, this desire to survive. And when it comes to certain types of information, it will continue to mirror itself to you to maintain itself. But you're past that. You're in a new state where you understand divine timing and you're out of their timing, right? You're not going to work on their level anymore. And you're going to evaluate things on your own terms. You understand now how truth is created, how things are brought in new ways because you're experimenting and you're rebelling. And this isn't a rebellion that will... It's the kind of rebellion that's setting your soul on fire. You understand that working too powerfully against anything actually diminishes your energy. You understand how energy works. This is something that negative beliefs will keep you in change, like in that devil energy with them, because they keep you fighting them and feeding them. You're starting to realize that what you fight, you feed. And you're going to instead nourish the mystery, the sacred feminine, the unknown. And there's this other truth that where sometimes we prefer the uncertainty of what we've known to the mystery of what is becoming. And that ruins our ability to be a visionary because we're clinging, right? So here, like within this moon energy, the secret, we have the 1 and the 8, the magician and strength. And here on Soul on Fire, we have the 3 and the 8, the empress, and also the 3 of wands, the visionary. And yeah, so there's a lot of 8 energy, this infinite, and this strength card, which is the inner master, the teacher. And this is about turning the wheel of truth, right? Reshaping the truth, because the truth of what existence is always brought into the realm of story, because we are story-based beings. Humans are story-based. We live from the space of story. And so the way we shape the stories we tell ourselves and our lives, it becomes how we think and feel, and that becomes our physical reality. But as we attune to different vibrations, this King of Cups, logic and heart, walking with this clarity, because we are taking both the mind and the heart into account. And that requires you to understand how the mind works. The ego is not bad. The ego is a friend, a tool, a collaborator. But you have to be determined to sacrifice. It's almost the ego, like egoic way to fight the ego. It's almost like a negative ego against the ego, which is not going to get you anywhere. You have to let go of certainty, which means that you have to work a long time with your ego, befriending it. It's like befriending a wild animal, right? And that's actually a very good way to think about it, because wild animals are, because it's both about, like, there's this idea of survival mode that's coming through, basically. And this is, I think, why the strength card, the 8s, are coming through so strongly in this reading, is that in the strength card, the person is befriending a lion, is able to tame that lion because of their inner mastery, right? Because of how they walk in the world. And it's not from force, it's not with weapons, it's not with poison, it's with their own center. By being so powerfully centered, they are able to face the beast, and the beast befriends them. And this is, my friends, how you unstick the stuck. Which I think the stuck is always sticking. We're in a 3D world. And, perhaps that's something that will shift. But until that does, we have, again, the 4 and the 6, the Emperor and love, right? Structure of love. And that's actually perfect for the King of Cups, right? Logic and love. Wild logic. So bring them together. Honor them both. Thank the ego for it's protecting you. It can relax then and be like, oh, wow, I'm doing a great job. We're all relaxed, right? If you fight it, it fights back. Just like anything else. The mirror, right? And because you are living poetry, because you are becoming the master, let me correct that. Because you are becoming the master, your poetry is going to start to show up. Your divine timing and evaluation of space and time is coming through in this really powerful way. The poetry of time, the poetry of space, the poetry of even control. You can start to see how things unfold, these patterns, right? This universal pattern of yourself and then everything around you. You're going to start to see the beauty in these patterns. And that is going to give you an extreme ability to seed into your life what you want to happen next. This is beautiful energy, friends. Let's get some animal spirit cards to seal the deal here. Ooh, the lamb. The lamb is interesting. The lamb is interesting. It's always, it's very gentle. And it's a gentle master. And we think about the lion and the lamb, right? Very different energies. And here we have the fox. A teacher, a partner. Both earth energies. Ooh, here we have the owl. Clairvoyance. And it's almost as if this owl is wearing this crown, the queen. And it's also pointing towards this visionary energy you're going to be bringing down. And then here we have the panther. This is the purge. This is the clearing, the cleansing. And what I'm being asked to do is just stack these until they're all facing inward. And the lamb actually is going to come to the center. Oh, interesting. And so here we have the wolf, which is about tribe, protecting the tribe. I saw the cosmic egg make an appearance and leave. And then here we have the octopus. So it looks like we have a bunch of creatures facing forward, and then the owl and the panther. And so the way I'm seeing this is about this divine timing. Things moving in a progression in time. And they're going to bring everything full circle to where these energies are looking back, supporting this center moment. And this is unawakened magic. This is what's waking up right now, the snake energy. Okay, so let's read who has decided to come out. And I think the octopus is really important. Octopi, octopeople, they're incredibly intelligent creatures that I think there's still so much to learn about how they move through the world, what they're up to. They're highly, highly intelligent. And you can see that reflected in the rainbow area. But there's this uncertainty that comes with being an octopus, like including like finding, there we go, the page was kind of sticking. And it's bringing in some water energy. We actually have all the elements here: water, earth, air, and fire. Reaching, yearning, lacking, boundaries, and direction, right? So it's almost like our intelligence has us moving in too many directions. The octopus signifies a wonderfully perceptive mind paired with a lack of healthy boundaries. Unfortunately, this results in well-intended but messy relationships. Hands up for anyone out there. Yeah. Entwines itself into other people's business and shares their own without restraint. They believe that what it means to be close, if you are, that's what that means to be close. Yeah. So when in balance, interested, engaged, intelligent. When out of balance, needy, clingy, lacks courage. To bring into balance, space to oneself, and talk therapy. Right? So, yeah, I can really relate to this as an empath. Like when I'm around people, it's very hard to stay centered. I get really pulled into their energy and their space. And it's because I care so much. But the truth is like it is because there were aspects of myself that I needed to heal. So I didn't feel compelled to share everything. It was almost because it was actually, and so here's like my own hot take on this, is I think the world does not have very good boundaries. we're really up in each other's business. And I think that's kind of what all this whole reading has been about. So it seems like for the octopus people that are intelligent, that shows up because there's this level of questioning the way boundaries are constructed, but it makes things messy, and it makes the people that are in this state become almost the mirrors of the issues that are under the surface for everyone else. So it's kind of like the octopus like holds this negative mirror, and it's important to get out of that state. It's almost like people that have are going through some kind of addiction. You know, that devil energy that we were looking at before. But like because they're so aware and open and sensitive, there's this neediness or healing process that's happening, and other people can't handle it. So it's actually a very mutual boundary crossing, but it's within our society acceptable to question people that are emotionally and mentally struggling in a way that people whose lives look like they're together, it's not. So it creates a weird dynamic. That's my hot take. I think the octopus isn't getting enough credit. I think it's because it's ahead. I think being ahead of your time can be really challenging, and I think the octopus is a card that really shows that. But so the wolf is the next progression here. Guardian of family and tribe, activism, and ritual. And the wolf's mission is to uphold the well-being of the pack. Healthy wolf energy expresses itself through activism, mentorship, humanitarian efforts, or teaching religious or political studies. The wolf gets into trouble when it assumes every member of the tribe must follow suit. So contemplate the following: embrace all, exclude none. And I think this is exactly what the octopus is trying to do. But it is given, they're seen differently, right? Because the wolf is within the context of this culture that, you know, I'm in, this North American Western culture, the fierceness and solidarity of the wolf is preferred over the intelligence and watery emotional nature of the octopus. And I think the thing is, it's like how we adapt and change. The octopus is also known for being able to adapt and like change to its environment. So I think that aspect of the octopus needs to be brought in, because once you become more wolf-like to manage the situation of this time, it's reliable, democratic, and fearless. When out of balance, judgmental and dominating, right? So practice letting go. I feel like these are really partner energies here. Yeah, the wolf. Let's look at the lamb now, because this is then the furthest progression of all of these energies within this context. It's peaceful, prophetic, and patient. So this is just a whole nother layer of leadership, the final transformation. The lamb is the bearer of an important message. Its contents can only be heard when a deep level of quiet has been established. Lamb energy is the honest guidance you need to hear from an old friend, a young child, or sometimes a surprising stranger. Though the lamb's message may channel through another person, the wisdom resonates within you. It will repeat and reverberate until you listen. Approach this gentle creature with the utmost patience and reverence. Truth is a gift. Sit still, listen, receive. And if you're anything like me, there might be phrases, sayings that, you know, things that people have said that stick with you. This is that. When in balance, knowingness, inner peace. When out of balance, quiet, timid, concerned. To bring into balance, meditation and listening. So this is a very centered way of guiding people and ultimately protecting people from this grounded knowingness. It's a way of teaching people how to protect themselves. And understand this energy, you know, this energy, this vibration that we talked about at the beginning of like peace and clarity and knowingness. That's the vibration we want to bring in. And we have some energies that are also supporting this. Abundance, clairvoyant, and treasures is what the owl has to bring. The owl is a mysterious and otherworldly creature found in the folklore from east to west. The white owl in this particular deck is the companion of the goddess Lakshmi and represents wealth, beauty, and good fortune. When the owl card appears, it's an omen that a boon or treasure is on its way, either in spiritual or material form. With owl wisdom on your side, you'll see and know exactly what to do with this boon, how it can further serve your dharma and bring abundance to the world. Trust what the wellspring of treasures is infinite. Trust that the wellspring of treasures is infinite. When in balance, generous, trusting, secure. When out of balance, money quarrels, scarcity. To bring into balance, an offering. And I just made an offering to the crows in my neighborhood. So there's many forms of offering though. And it can even be to yourself if that is what is needed, because you are connected to everything and your abundance is reflected in the world around you, right? That Page of Cups energy. So then we have the Panther, which the Jaguar was a big part of the traditions that I learned in this lineage that I am coming from in Peru. And it helps to mulch and transform energy. And so the thing is like, there is so much energy on this planet. And even as we've dug pretty deep within ourselves, you know, if here's a saying that's coming to mind from that training is like, if you don't like your problems, find bigger ones, right? You know, there's a lot to hold space for. But I think the thing is that I really learned so there were teachers from the West that were partnering with the people in Peru that were from the lineage of healers. And I did notice that there was a lot of like joy and humor and love, whereas there was a lot of a cloud hanging over the people in the West. And it was interesting because, you know, when you look at the material wealth of the two areas, like it's very clear that, you know, like from this Taoist statement, it's not the money, it's the state of mind, it's the state of awareness of the universe. Obviously, nourishing our bodies, having a home, all of these things are important to being alive. But look at the people that are richest on the planet. Do they seem like truly grounded and happy? I don't know. Like, if you're always wanting more, then are you ever actually in flow with what you have? Really being aware of what you truly have, which first and foremost is you are alive and the universe is vast and just mysterious and beautiful and brilliant, and there's a lot of different things to tune into. And this is not about spiritual bypassing. Your emotions, your grief, the grief of the planet, the things they do need to be seen and let go of. It's an interesting process because it's very easy to ignore that. And so this is the thing I saw with these people in this lineage in Peru, is that they just had this grounded joy, you know? So the Panther, annihilation of the unnecessary, purging. The panther won't stand to see our growth or energy stagnate. Instead, it pounces into our lives and causes all kinds of havoc, with the ultimate intention of bringing us toward a more fulfilling life. It's unexpected, uncomfortable, and sometimes feels devastating, but after all the dust clears, and it's easy to see the panther's wisdom at work. We've been through these experiences, and they've made us better people. Trust that the panther's journey always leads to a brighter place. And so this is really giving me that tower energy. Like, what don't you need in your life? And it's hard. Trust me, it's hard. When the things that aren't meant to be with us go, it's truly difficult. And it's not always easy to know what is what. But deep down you do know. Deep down you know. Because if it's something that you were fighting to maintain, or even if it was a phase of a relationship that you were fighting to maintain and there was a need for space, for like people to part ways for a time as they come into their own, it's beautiful when you can take that time and space, because it's not a rush, it's a journey. And everything's a mirror. So when in balance, brave and productive. So taking what comes and understanding its importance. When out of balance, self-destructive. To bring into balance, get rid of the unnecessary. So I'm a kind of person where I often can feel that tower coming, right? And it's a weird feeling when you know everything is becoming more solid, but it's not, it's off kilter. Because it's not human nature to push the tower over, but you can certainly start to get out of its way. And I feel like, this is definitely the message for today. Let's just circle back to where we started. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there's nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. And this includes riding those waves of change. Because the change is part of something new blossoming. If you are shifting into a new frequency, if you are starting to vibrate on a new level, things are going to shift and release. And it might feel empty. But this is the time for you to start to bring things in slowly with intention. The whole world belongs to you. You lack nothing. It is all about vibration. What are you tuning into? So in that moment of transformation and change, really tune into this visioning energy. You are being supported fully in that. Okay? Tune into what you want to build. Dream every day. Get into that visionary state of the Lamb. And that is the message for today, my friends. If you enjoyed this message, like, subscribe, share it with a friend. I'm very curious where you're tuning in from, vibrationally or locationally. I like that. That rhymes. Okay, and until next time. Until next now. Be why how. Okay, bye.